Folks, this is a big moment. Two towering icons are about to join the George Lucas talk show. Grogu's and Gragas. First up, you know him. He's always typecast as a dad dog. The voice of Bud himself, Tom Everett Scott.
Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, guys.
Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah. All right, let's bring in the second guest, Wada, so we can press play on this.
Second guest. What can I say? You know her best as the voice of Miss Mittens, a Himalayan cat in the film Snow Buddies. She's also an EGOT winner, and her intro that she asked for verbatim is simple. Hi, whoop. Grogu's and Gragas, Whoopi goddamn Goldberg.
Hello, Tom Scott.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hello, Whoopi. Hello, Tom.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. We're so
It's
psyched that you're here.
Too long. It's been far too long.
Yes.
That's true.
We're gonna press play on the movie, and then we'll start chatting. So let's. You guys don't have to be watching, but we'll talk. All right, George, Wada, you guys ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
Already.
All right, we're gonna press play in 1, 2, 3. So I guess the first question is, do you remember how you guys got involved with this movie?
No.
So it's okay if you don't. It's totally okay if you don't.
No, I don't.
Great. We just watched the first one. Tom, I believe you're in the first one too.
Air Buddies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. So then I was cast in Air Buddies, and then that's how I got into Snow Buddies. And Robert Vince, the director, he says that when he thinks of a dad dog, he thinks of me.
High praise.
There you go.
Yeah. Do you guys enjoy doing voiceover work?
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. It there's
You've done a number.
Incredible. I mean, what
I was
Lion
gonna
King
say.
was amazing.
yeah.
Right, Lion King, Page Master, Toy Story 3. I mean, you have a humongous voiceover career on top of everything else you've done.
Well, I don't know that I call it humongous, but I do like doing it. I have, I've had a lot of grandchildren who've grown up and now one great-grand. And so there is something wonderful when you're 6 and you can say, "Is that you?" And that's what she says to me. "Is that you?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me. She goes, "How can you do this?" She's like taken. She doesn't understand how it's possible to give one's voice, and that makes me happy. So I like doing it. I prefer it almost to anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I look, I don't want to get into drama, but I do feel like there is a controversy that we need to address right off the bat. And Tom, I'm sorry for even making you an audience to this, but we have to just clear the air, Whoopi, okay?
What? Yeah.
We've been doing this show online since last May.
Right.
And Patrick, George, and I have had a little bit of an ongoing friction because we all have our baby Yodas, and we often argue about which one of us was the first to get the baby Yoda, the original baby Yoda. And then I look up, you have had the baby Yoda in the background every episode of The View.
Yes.
For almost a year now. As long as you've been doing The View at home, you've had the baby Yoda.
Yes.
Do you, in fact, have the original baby Yoda?
Maybe.
Wow.
Will not confirm, but will not deny. That's not a denial.
No, I'm just saying, maybe. Listen, Baby Yoda plays a large part in my daily life. So I like Baby Yoda. Now, he's not here right now because he's in the John.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
you know.
That's,
Yeah.
I'm glad that you let him do what he needs to do. You don't have to keep an eye on him the whole day.
Well, listen, it's not that I let him do it. Baby Yoda does what Baby Yoda wants to do. Baby Yoda's not waiting for me.
Yeah.
So I just, am happy that Yoda has stayed as long, Baby Yoda stayed as long as he has. So,
yeah.
So, but
go ahead.
I just wanted to ask you more about. Well, I should ask Tom. Tom, tell me about this movie we made. Because, I for some reason it's not in my head now. Maybe that I'm getting older and stuff is just getting moved around. But tell me about. I know it's puppies, and I know I'm a cat. This much I know.
It's true. You play Miss Mittens, and the only reason I know that is because I woke up at 8:30 this morning and put Snow Buddies on so that I would have something to talk about during this. And I couldn't remember it either.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I couldn't even remember like what the storyline was, but it's the buddies go to they get stuck in an ice cream thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they get shipped to Alaska, and they meet some sled dog, and they help some kid win some sled dog race.
Yeah.
Really? Well, that's kind of cool.
It's so cool.
That's kind of cool. All right.
I like that we're selling you.
Yes.
I like that we're selling you on the movie for the second time. This is great.
Right.
This is us pitching it to you again.
Well, I feel the same way I did the first time. Yeah, that sounds like something I could do.
Yeah. Right. In both cases, you went, sure, that's an okay way to spend an afternoon.
Yeah.
Both appearing on this live stream and being in the movie.
Well, there's a lot worse things I could be doing and have done.
It's true. It's true.
So,
I mean, Tom, tell us
it's not a bad way.
Tom, tell us about the character of Miss Mittens. What is she like?
Oh, I don't really know how to put it into words. It's more of a feeling.
You can do it you could do it in gestures if you can't put it into words. Tell us just with a facial expression, perhaps. What is Miss Mittens? Is she friend or foe?
Oh, she's mysterious. She's a mysterious gal.
Interesting.
Yeah. Sounds like me. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't ever try to know.
Yeah. And you don't know her. The days that Bud was hanging out with her, yeah, she might have been having bad days. You don't want to totally paint her as a bad person, just because of the time they spent with her. Yeah. Yeah.
Does she have more than 2 lines?
Now, is that something that you take into consideration when you're taking a role? If it's like, well, she's got 90 lines, are you more likely to say, we'll let someone else do it?
No, I just was trying to figure out if she just scratched people or if she said stuff to people. But if it's a kid's movie about puppies, I'm banking that she was probably scratching something and being a little, kitty-like.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is what you need to understand about the mythology at play here is that Mittens is a Himalayan cat. And right now in the film, we are far from the Himalayas. We're in just suburban green grassland. And Tom's character, Bud, is of course the prodigious Air Bud, a dog who was permitted to play sports amongst humans because there was nothing in the rule book saying he couldn't.
Right.
Now he has puppies. The puppies get into all sorts of adventures.
Right.
I think, spoilers, they're going to end up in the Himalayas in some snow and meet a cat.
These are not our puppies, right? We didn't hook up and
you and I
thing, right?
You are asking 2 separate questions, Whoopi. Did you and I hook up?
Question. Whose kids are these? Whose puppies are these? Are these my puppies?
You think you're asking 1 question, you're asking 2. Did you and I hook up? Yes, of course. Many times. Yes. Are they our puppies? No.
So you're in the movie too?
No. That's what I'm saying. Us hooking up has nothing to do with this film. That was just us working the clubs together. Yes.
All right. I remember that.
I middled for you in Boise.
Yes, I remember.
Do you guys now? Does this happen often where someone will bring up a movie to you guys and you're like, I remember nothing from that?
I thought you were going to say, does it happen often that someone accuses me of having puppies with them?
Listen, you can answer either one.
No, I think that this is a tough one because these movies kind of blur together for me. It's just like I go to the booth, I read the lines as the dad dog, and my kids were the right age to see these when they came out.
Yeah.
So I did watch this one back with my kids.
That's fun. Whoopi, now this is actually every month we do a fundraiser where we watch either a film series or a TV show along with people who were in it. And this is actually I think it's the second one that you've been in because we watched Muppets Tonight a few months ago.
You did?
You did, yeah. Do you remember anything from I know you've done the worked with the Muppets a lot,
Right.
but do you remember anything from Muppets Tonight?
Muppets Tonight I've done a couple of films with them, so
This was it was a TV show mid-90s. It was sort of like the Muppet Show. It was like an updated version of the Muppet Show.
Was I with Piggy?
I think
you were with everyone. You were like a special guest star, guest host. You did sketches with them.
Right.
Of
So
course.
did Piggy and I do Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend?
Exactly.
Okay. Yes, I remember a lot from that because they were all real diamonds that we got from my friends at Harry Winston.
Wow.
Yes. And so Piggy and I are covered in at least $12 to $15 million worth of jewelry while singing. So it was great fun. It was great fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love the Muppets, and I'm going to have to watch this with Charlie. She's my great grand, and so this will be something she doesn't know about. Yeah, cool.
I mean, most people don't like dogs. I mean, puppies and dogs, they're the best.
She loves dogs. She loves dogs. I'm a cat person because
You're Miss Mittens.
Yeah, well, see, as it turns out, I'm just playing myself.
Yeah.
Dogs need a lot of, they need a lot of guidance like little kids. I only had one kid. So that tells you everything.
Now, we're raising money for the ASPCA today, and we're at, it's like $3,200 so far we've done. Can you guys help give us a pitch for people to donate? Why should people donate?
You want to go first, Tom?
Yeah, my wife and I have been rescuing dogs since, we've been together since the mid 90s. We met in college, and, that was our first kid with this rescue from, named Dutch. And you got to help the dogs that don't have anybody else to help them. Mm-hmm. They can't do it. They're dogs. So we as people got to help save their lives.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things you could do with your money. You could go have a couple of more lattes. You could, go and buy some weed. There's a whole bunch of things you could do. But one of the greatest things you could do is put some money towards some food for an animal who got rescued because she or he was living in a flood zone, or because she or he was being beat up by an adult, a grown person. And as much as you think that you care, throw some food out there. Think about it as you're feeding. I
don't think the two things are mutually exclusive. You can get a latte, smoke weed, and save some dogs.
Yeah, I think those are all good.
There's so many people who just think, oh my God, what am I going to do today? And I figure if you're going to get a latte, just get one.
Mm-hmm.
And throw some money towards the pups.
Yeah.
Dogs and cats, they don't have anybody. They can't explain where they came from. They just they look at you and say, "Could you help?" How can you not?
Let's also mention, if you want to be a regular Tom Everett Scott, not only can you donate money to the ASPCA, but through the ASPCA you could foster a dog yourself if you're looking to get involved and offer your help hands-on.
Yes. Yeah. Now, don't forget, they foster all kinds of animals. They foster, ducks. They foster turtles. They foster everything. They're there to take care of the animals. They're doing all the stuff that you and I can't do because we're doing other stuff. So I say send some money. So if people want to donate, what do they do?
Well, they go to, there's a link in the bottom corner that says bit.ly/GLTS buddies. If you guys type that in, it'll send you right to the fundraising page that we set up for the ASPCA. It's down underneath Watto. It's that yellow underneath Watto.
That's good.
So it's right there. So you guys, if you want to, it would help out a lot. And there's a lot of people watching right now. So I think, now's the time if you're going to do it.
Now, Whoopi,
yes.
you're a fan of Star Wars.
I am,
and you've expressed an interest in being in a Star Wars, but you are deeply involved in the I would say the deep mythology of Star Trek.
Yes,
with one of the greatest and most mysterious characters in all of science fiction, Guinan.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it still true that we are going to get to see Guinan again in Star Trek Picard?
Yes.
2? Is that still happening? I'm
very. Yeah. It's exciting.
It is.
How does that? Yeah. Go ahead, George.
I'm very excited to see that, because even though I do hope that you're able to enter the Star Wars universe at some point, but I'm glad to see you continuing that journey as Guinan.
As am I. And I really was at one point really hoping to become part of the Star Wars universe. But I realized that, you can't be everywhere all the time. So I'm very happy to be in my Next Generation groove. And I'm going to go do Picard when it's a lot safer to come to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
They keep saying it's very bad in Los Angeles, like it's not very bad everywhere, but I'm looking forward to it. Listen, I love science fiction. For me, it made me understand as a little kid, that there was going to be a continuation of the world. And then Star Trek allowed me to understand that I was actually probably going to be part of it, because there were Black people in the future, which I didn't know when I watched other science fiction, because you never saw it. And then there was Lieutenant Uhura looking hot, being cute, and she was the one you contacted before you talk to anybody. She's a communications officer. And I thought, geez, that's cool. That's cool. So it made me feel better, and gave me a great love for visual science fiction.
Well, I mean, here's a big question for both of you, for Tom and the Whoopster. George sold Star Wars, right? That's why we're doing a live stream on the internet every Sunday. He doesn't have the creative say anymore. But this is free reign. We have the ear of the mouse, right? Mickey himself is probably watching this stream.
I hope so.
Tom and Whoopi, if you could play any character in the Star Wars universe, what would it be? What kind of character would you want to play?
Oh man, I just remember being so bummed when Ewan McGregor got cast as Obi-Wan, because I wanted that so bad.
Sorry.
I would love to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. Just ever since Sir Alec Guinness played the role in episode 4.
Tom, I'll tell you, I'll be very honest. Your presence in that thing you do was too powerful. I was worried that people would call him Oneater One Kenobi.
I hear you. Obi-Wan probably doesn't have that kind of, shades groove. But
you could play Obi-2 Kenobi. We could establish a brother, Obi-2 Kenobi.
There you go.
Yeah.
1 and 2.
Obi-2 Kenobi, would you take that if you were offered Obi-Wan's brother?
I mean, absolutely. We don't even have to involve agents and managers. We could just do this deal right now.
That's great.
Will they be mad at you if they don't get involved? That feels like something that you gotta let them know about.
Their feelings would be hurt. That's true.
Yeah, sure.
Let's get some fan art of Obi-2 Kenobi, and really, because I do feel like they're doing that Kenobi series, but Ewan's not going to want to do 5 years of a TV show. So if Obi-2 pops in, are you willing to do multiple seasons? Because the show's, I think, just called Kenobi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to be Obi-1. Could be
Doesn't have to be
Obi-2.
Obi-1. It could be Obi-2. Yeah, sure. I'll jump in there. I'll happily lend my doggy dad voice to that role.
Tom, do you have a preference in the spelling of Obi-2? Do you want T-W-O, T-O-O, or T-O?
I'm going to leave the weird spelling to you, George. You're so good at twisting those names.
Three O's. Obi-2 Kenobi with 3 O's.
Oh, beautiful.
Because it's far away in the past.
Whoopi, what about you? Do you have anything?
I'd want to be with Yoda. So I'd like to be, Yoda's,
Friend.
cousin.
Cousin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay.
It's all about family. The saga is all about family. That's what it's ultimately.
Yeah. You just
comes
call me
down to.
Woda.
Woda. And let's see some Woda fan art. Let's see some Woda fan art. WHODA.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm trying to click the yellow button and it isn't clicking.
Oh,
We can give you a link, Whoopi.
Okay, please do.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you the link.
Okay. Yes, I would like to. I'd like to. I feel like Yoda and I'd be working for Yoda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe, Guinan style, you're the one giving Yoda advice. When Yoda's stressed out, he comes to Woda, and you're like, let me tell you what's going on.
Well, he comes to my bar. I
Yeah.
will always have a bar. I should always have a bar. Folks should come to.
Yeah.
But that sounds good.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you, Whoopi, because you're talking about donating. You, of course, were one of the founders of Comic Relief, right? You, Billy Crystal, Robin Williams, raising money for big causes. We are now 3 people doing comedy on the internet. Patrick, retired filmmaker George Lucas, and myself, Watto, trying to raise money for different causes. What advice can you give us in trying to blend comedy and fundraising?
Just do what you're doing. Don't do anything different. Just do what you're doing.
Mhm.
Just do what you're doing.
Are you saying we're perfect?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Is that bad?
No,
that's great.
Great. It's great.
Good.
That's
And
really good.
and I drink to you.
Mm. Thank you. I mean, look, we've all.
I'll do that as well. We'll drink to you.
Tom, I watched a movie you were in a few days ago, Tom, and I would love to hear about the making of it. It's a little movie called Mars Needs Moms, where you play dad.
Right. That's
How
true.
was that? Because that was all motion capture, right? You guys were just inside a big warehouse with a bunch of dots all over you?
That's right. And I feel like I lucked out because Mars didn't need dads. So I got to kind of slide in for a couple of days and slide out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whoopi, have you ever done the motion capture?
No, I'd been talking to think of his name, who did all of the motion capture for Planet of the Apes.
Andy Serkis?
Andy, and I said to him, listen, I'm getting old. Can I come play with you when you guys are like, when you just got some extra stuff you have to do? Just put me in that thing. He said, okay. So I want to do, because I think that's a remarkable way to stay present.
Yeah.
Without having to necessarily, lose weight or get skinny or, any of those things, or be black. My God,
Right.
Yeah.
Play anything in motion capture. So no, I've been bothering Andy Serkis for a long time, for years.
Motion capture.
He's so good.
Motion capture is by far the healthiest way to either gain or lose weight.
More than being trapped in your house for 9 months. That was the easiest weight I ever gained. I mean, 2 asses. That's me.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sign up for some motion capture work after this pandemic myself.
Yeah.
Seeing as I can't go to the gym.
Yeah.
What is it? what has it been like? I'm assuming you shoot the view from your house. What has that been like? Not having to leave and just still getting to do the thing that you did every day from there.
It's been heaven, and I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I may never go outside again, ever.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's great.
Yeah,
That's a scoop. That's a scoop.
that is an exclusive.
you know what? But it's just I mean,
Now-
I like it. Oh,
Um,
in the show.
Tom, have you been able to film anything or work on anything while you've been at home?
No, the last show I was working on was a series called I'm Sorry. We shut down in mid-March, and since then, no. I have friends who have gone off to work, and it's not like I wouldn't go. I would.
Yeah.
I see everybody working with the PPE. Everybody's got their gear on and stuff. But I think it's slowly starting to ramp up. But for almost, I would say, for every 3 shows that starts back up, I would say 1 or 2 of them get shut down immediately because there's an outbreak.
Yeah.
So it seems to just be kind of like going along.
Yeah.
Here's a big question for both of you, and I don't want to embarrass my friend George. But he is getting up there in age. He can be forgetful. The two of you are Hollywood big shots. You've done everything. You've had massive careers spanning decades. Have either of you crossed paths with George in the past? I know neither of you ever worked with him directly, but have you crossed paths?
Now, Whoopi, Whoopi, I remember when you hosted the making of Captain EO.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
You were the for people who maybe couldn't make it to the theme park to see it. There was this great little sort of short film that I think people can find it online, where you were people's guide to that world, and that was, of course, I did the story for that, and I produced it for my friend Francis.
I love that. It was great fun.
Yeah, and of course, prior to that, you worked with my buddy Steve on The Color Purple.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, which is one of his best movies, I think.
I think so too. But I think you're dating us, George.
Oh, yeah, perhaps I am. But later on, I know. I mean, I never directed you personally, but I feel like we're in worlds that are circling one another.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Tom, I'm getting a text from our friend Anthony Carboni, who's been on the show before. He's a great host and video guy and everything. He wants me to ask about werewolf bungee jumping from American Werewolf in Paris. He wants to know, what was that like? How much of it, were you on the actual Eiffel Tower? What's the story there? He wants to know.
Okay. We were on the Eiffel Tower. They shut it down for us from like midnight to sunrise, which was fun. Yeah. That was really fun, climbing all over the Eiffel Tower with nobody else on it. And then the rest of it, but we didn't bungee jump off of it. The rest of that was green screen.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. We made it look real.
Was it fun being around werewolves though? That's the big question. You like the werewolves?
Yeah, no, I like werewolf movies. I love the original Werewolf in London. Yeah, it was good fun. It was good fun, and we were all over Europe in that one. So it was my first time in Europe. So I had a blast making that film with Julie Delpy.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
If we're going through highlights of your career, and people have been asking since the moment you came on screen, I know we've alluded to it, but we got to talk a little more about that thing you do.
Oh yes.
I mean, it's a perfect movie. It's a wonderful film, but it was a movie I went to very early on in lockdown. When you're looking for comfort things to watch.
Oh, nice.
Early, and I never knew about the longer Hanks cut, the extended cut.
Right.
I watched it for the first time, and it's one of the only cases I've seen of two very different cuts of a movie that are both equally good, but just different.
Right. I mean, he had such a big story to tell. I mean, especially for Charlize Theron's character, there was so much going on with her that got I think it was nice that got to be in the director's cut.
The director's cut is like, it feels a little more epic, it's slower, it's more contemplative, it has this broader canvas, and then the theatrical cut is so tight and fun and poppy that they both have their strengths. Neither one feels like an add-on to the other.
Right. That's so cool. I'm glad. I remember when they first cut it together. I remember seeing the director's cut, and I remember Tom Hanks saying, "Don't get excited. This is not going to all be in there." And as an actor, I kind of felt like I was just going to defer to him anyway because he's Tom Hanks. But I was a little sad. I was like, "Oh wow, he worked like weeks on that one sequence, and it's not going to be in the movie. That's crazy." That was my first film, so I mean, everything at that point, I just had no idea what was going on. I didn't know that 25 years later we'd have both versions.
Color Purple was your first film, Whoopi, right?
Yes.
So both of you just had these incredible debuts into movies where your lead characters working with huge directors in these big projects. I mean, what was that like transition process like for both of you in your careers to suddenly being the face of these movies?
Did you take early meetings with Steven Spielberg, Whoopi? How did you go about that?
I had been doing my show on Broadway, and I'd just gotten an agent. People were starting to talk about the work I was doing, and I get a phone call saying, Steven Spielberg would like to meet you when you go back west. And I thought, well, yeah, I want to meet him too. I want to be, I want to be running from a giant boulder. I want to be part of that. And so they said, listen, can you go do some of your show? And I said, yeah, sure. Because he had a small theater at Amblin. And so I went and met him, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking in my head, look at Steven Spielberg sitting right there. Right, I could touch him if I want to. And he said, because I started chuckling, he said, "It's what?" I said, no, I'm talking to myself inside my head. He said, "Oh, I do that all the time." And I thought, really? He said, yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. And that was, for me, that was a sign that whatever this ended up being, it would be all right because he got it. I don't know, that sounds silly, but
no. That's so cool, because I think in that moment they're trying to find the right person, and they're trying to figure out if it's going to work for the story that they're going to. Yeah. That's huge. That can make all the difference in casting.
Well, it really helped because I've been on the stages my whole life. I don't really know much about making movies, and so, but I love film, and so I was lucky because he's a big old cinemaphile as well, and so we just started talking about movies, and I realize now he was trying to see where I was at, and so I told him about all the stuff I love. I'm a horror movie girl. I love horror movies too.
Yeah.
And, he said, so if I said to you, hey, remember when that moment just before Norman Bates walks into the bathroom and he's in that scary thing. He said, if I said to you, that's the feel I need. I said, oh, I know what that is. I understand that. And that's how he directed me.
Wow.
Was through all these other movies, because I could relate to what he was saying to me. And, trying to get other people to understand who are not cinema lovers is very difficult. Sure. To get them to understand how to, that if you love movies and you have a relationship to them, then you have feeling. If you're an actor, I think you know what those things feel like when somebody says, you remember that moment just before Scout moves the door so we can see Boo Radley. So yeah, I got that. We as actors, we know what that is. We know how to make you feel that. Oh, yeah. And that's, to me, that's heaven when somebody gets it, and so I was very, very lucky. I was very lucky. I bet you feel the same way, Tom, that you're with somebody particularly another actor who knows the essence of what you need to go and is helping you vibe right in.
I mean, I couldn't believe my luck, my good fortune of my first big director was my favorite actor at the time. And he taught me things about acting in film that I have used my entire career. Just basic things like less is more. He would say, you think you're not interesting enough. You are very interesting. Just do less. It'll all come out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he did use an example like that. At one point, I turned to Jimmy and I say, why didn't you dump her in Pittsburgh? It's after Jimmy has dumped Faye. And Tom just wanted me to just do a bunch of different takes of saying that to Jimmy. And I remember the last one was, say it like Clint Eastwood would say it. To, you know, in like magnum force to some punk who was about to blow away. And I was like, really? And he's like, just for me. I was like, okay. And I don't think that's the one that they used, but it was just, you know, it's just fun.
It is. It is.
But
it would be fun if they had the time, if there was a Clint Eastwood cut of that thing you do where every line, every line was you reading it like Clint.
I do want
and
to show
you just call it that thing you do, punk.
This is from our friend Goof drew this. Here's Hoda.
Yoda at Hoda's bar.
Oh, that's great.
That is wonderful.
Whoopi, you directed a documentary a few years ago.
Yes.
How was that? Was that your first time directing something on that scale, or?
Yeah, but it's not the same like real directors do. Like I keep coming very close to saying I'm going to direct something, but I don't have the. You have to have a love for directing. You have to have that passion. I don't have that. I keep trying to manufacture it, but I don't have it. But I made it.
It was the Mom's Mabley documentary.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was desperate for people to know who she was, because I thought maybe I would bring a show back to Broadway, another one-woman show of her.
Yeah.
And that if I put information out, if I could tell people about her, that would make it more interesting. But I made the documentary and never wrote the show. So these are the days of my life.
And now, I mean, Tom, I'm seeing Glock in 2009. Tell us about Glock.
That was just something I was trying to come up with a way to tell a story through spy short. Like everyone knows spy movies. You just have to show a couple different images and sequences and everybody knows what's happening.
Yeah.
Well, you could do that with any genre. But for me, it was the spy movie idea. And my friend Michael McMillan and I just wrote this 10-minute short and filmed it. And it was so much fun. We got a great cast together. It was my first time directing, my only time directing. Yeah, it was great. We went to film festivals. It was super fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got Michael Giacchino, is a really good friend of mine from when we our daughters were in preschool together, and he did the music. And I remember the day in post when the post editor put Michael's music in, and I don't think they realized that this would crush my soul. But when they played the music, they went, now it's a movie. And I was like, yes, that's true. But are you saying that it was, not so good before?
Yeah,
that music came in. But his music is so incredible.
Yeah, he's the best.
It's got an amazing cast.
Yeah. It was. I was really lucky. One of the hardest things to do is to ask friends and people you love to do something like that for nothing, for no money.
Yeah,
right. And it's just so nice that people are willing to do that kind of thing.
Well, ask me next time. I'll come and play.
Great.
Yeah.
Done deal.
On the record, we got it.
On the record.
Yeah.
After this pandemic.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Is there anyone that you guys haven't worked with that is still on your bucket list?
Tom.
Well, but you guys are in Snow Buddies, Whoopi. Let's be real.
Well, but we did,
No, I know.
Not the same.
Yeah.
No, that's funny. that's funny because like when you some shows you do voiceover for, you do sit in the room all together, and I have to say I think that's much better.
Well, it gives you an opportunity to play. Cheech and I got to do that when we did Lion King, and that was great. That was fun.
Yeah, because then you can really go off of each other. Yeah, that's much more organic.
Yeah.
Tom, you played the voice of Booster Gold in a series of different DC projects. You played them across a couple of things, which I feel like is it's a fan favorite character who hasn't gotten to be represented that much. You end up being like the Booster Gold because it's not like Batman where 80,000 guys have played.
That's right. I was super psyched for that because I grew up loving comics and loving DC, and so I was like, wow, no one knows this guy. I bet no one really, outside of comic book people. So I was excited to do that for JLA, and one of the first people I ever met in Hollywood was Dietrich Bader. Yeah, and I love Dietrich, and he's in all these Snow Buddies and Buddies movies.
He does show up in these, yeah.
Does show up.
So when I got to do Brave and the Bold, and he was Batman, that was just a treat.
Yeah. We did get some more. I want to show some more fan art.
That's awesome.
We got that from Kevin, and then we also got this. We got Obi-Wan and Obi-2. It's from Lauren.
Oh, look at that! He's got the shades.
You got it all. What were your guys? Did you guys have pets growing up?
Yeah. Who are your buddies?
Who are your buddies? Yeah.
Yeah. My dog and cat were Honey and Happy growing up. My dad hated calling for them. He hated at the end of the day having to yell out the door, Honey, Happy. Like I could hear it in his voice every time.
It's really
humiliation. That's what happens when you let your kids name their pets.
Yeah. Whoopi, what about you?
I grew up in the projects. In that time, we were not permitted to have animals of any kind.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did you have your first pet? Did you ever have a cat after that?
I got a cat when I moved to San Diego, and then this cat moved in. It's just like, oh, we have a cat. It would just sit, just kind of, how they sit like this and they just look at you. Mm-hmm. And that's what she would do. She would just sit. And then one day she came home with some guy, and then he left, and then there were kittens. And it was like, and my daughter was really small. She was like, oh, kittens, are they ours? I was like, oh, no. We got to find people to give them to. And we did. And I've had cats, and she has 3 dogs now. She's always had bulldogs. And I've always had cats because cats don't, they kind of give you a kiss on the cheek when you leave. They don't care. Or they feign that they don't care. But if it gets to be past dinner time, then there's a problem. And
Here's another Obi-2 Kenobi.
Nice.
Look at that.
At the drumstick.
Very good.
Did you guys now, Tom? You're in LA, and Whoopi, you're on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys ever live Tom? Have you lived on the East Coast? And Whoopi, how much time did you spend on the West Coast?
She just said she lived in San Diego, Patrick. Are you listening?
But I wanted to know how much time she has spent out there versus the East Coast motto. That was what I was asking.
I was born in Massachusetts. I lived there until I moved to New York after college. I was in New York for about 10 years and then moved out here in 2001. And I've been in LA ever since.
I lived in San Diego. Yes, I did, Watto. And I lived in Berkeley, California. And I lived in LA for a very long time. And then about 15 years ago, I just came back. Just thought, I felt like I aged out.
Sure.
Now, see, I look natural.
Yeah, it looked good.
Yes,
because
he's a
this
good
is
fit.
actually what is happening under all his hair. And I have everything tied down, for a reason.
Yeah,
Thanks to whoever did that, because now you know what I actually look like.
that was Jambalaya did that one.
Jambalaya, thank you. It's gorgeous. I loved it.
Yeah.
Now,
So,
now,
guys,
yeah.
I hate to do this, but I have to go.
You're the best.
You're the best.
You've
Whoopi.
been so generous with your time, Whoopster.
This was lots and lots and lots of fun. And I'm glad that I got to know you. You'll send me the
Yeah. It is. I'll email it. I'll email it to you guys, but it is in the private chat. I will get it to you.
Okay, cool. Because I feel like that's my thank you to you all. To be able to give to this. And Tom, I have to tell you, I'm a huge fan.
Likewise.
I've just been geeking out, having a good time, and it's quite thrilling to talk to you all. So,
Thank you.
Wow.
It was wonderful to see you.
Come back anytime, Whoopi. Come back anytime.
Do y'all. Bye.
All right.
So good to see you again, baby.
Well,
I'm gonna follow right behind Whoopi.
Yeah. Tom, thank you.
Well, Whoopi's savvy, because I was about to get very political. I was about to ask her about the Little Rascals movie in which Donald Trump played Waldo's dad. So perhaps it's just as well.
Do you want to, before Tom leaves, ask him the question about the Little Rascals movie?
Yes, Tom, when the little, I'll make this so it actually makes sense as a question. And I know you weren't in, first of all, just to be clear, you had nothing to do with the Little Rascals movie that came out in 1994.
Right.
Were you aware of the film, Tom?
No.
Okay.
All right.
Well, Whoopi plays Buckwheat's mom.
Yes.
Yes. It's a big comedic reveal at the end of the film. He goes, "Look, there's my mom." And they go, "Whoopee!" And the joke is that it sounds like an exclamation, but it is also the name of the actress playing the mom.
Oh, amazing.
Yes. So Whoopi plays a parent of a rascal, and Donald Trump, one day President Donald Trump, plays Waldo's dad in the film.
The villain, the rich kid.
I was going to ask Whoopi if, when she was working on the Little Rascals, did she ever imagine that anyone connected with the film would ever be in charge of the country? So I'll ask that to you, Tom. Having not seen the film, I think it still stands. Can you believe that anyone connected to the Little Rascals movie was ever in charge of the country?
All right. Well, I mean, I could just answer this question, or I could ask for a little more information.
All right. This is like a game show.
So you said that this movie came out in 1994.
Yes.
Yes.
Was this something that should be on my radar?
Tom, can I name some other names of people who are in this movie? George Wendt, Mel Brooks, Leah Thompson. Who else we got, George? I think you're looking at Reba McEntire. Who else we got? Anybody else I'm missing for the big one?
Directed by Penelope Spheris.
Yeah.
Yes, Mel Brooks was in it. Daryl Hannah.
Daryl Hannah.
Mary Kate Olsen, Leah Thompson, friend of the show. We should have asked her about it. We'll get Leah back on to ask her about it at some point. But it's a pretty stacked cast for a reboot of a black and white two-reeler, a series from the 1930s. You know, of all of the reboots, 1990s reboots of black and white children's-based comedy series from the 1930s, this was perhaps the biggest.
Yeah,
I mean, I can appreciate that's nice. I like that. That's got my beard. It's definitely got my nostrils.
I'll say this: it definitely confirmed my feeling that the next Star Wars movie I made should be focused on a young boy. I remember seeing Rascals and thinking, "Yes, this is what Star Wars should be next." I mean, Anakin should be a little rascal.
Yeah, I agree. The Women Haters Club. You know, you can bring that back. What was that? The He-Man Women Haters Club.
He-Man Women Haters Club. Yeah.
Right.
Unfortunately, topical.
Especially when you involve Donald Trump. I think that's what studios definitely want to make are movies that are associated with the nostalgia. You know, remaking things seems to have much better business model. But let's remake a movie that had potential but just didn't cut it at the box office. Let's do a couple of my movies. You know, let's Dead Man on Campus probably could have worked.
Boom.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what you call it now. You get rid of all the words and just call it DMOC.
Right.
2022.
Yes.
I mean, let's get fan art for this, because then if you make fan art, the industry thinks it's real. If you just announce something now, people will start thinking, I gotta get it. So if we just say DMOC 2022 Uprising,
right.
Now it sounds like that sounds like some real IP.
That's true.
Tom, I know you're trying to make a graceful exit, but I have to ask, because you brought up rebooting projects that you're a part of. You, of course, played Frank Heffley, the dad, in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Long Haul.
Yeah.
Now, in the previous 3 Wimpy Kid films, that role was essayed by Steve Zahn, your former bandmate in the Oneaters. Is there a conspiracy? Can we expect that Ethan Embry will take the role of the father in the now announced 3rd incarnation of the Wimpy Kid franchise on Disney Plus?
I think that Ethan would make a fantastic Frank Heffley. So he gets my vote. I remember texting Steve like, "Hey man, another thing we got in common," and he was like, "What?" I said, "Oh, I'm gonna be Frank Heffley," and he goes, "What?"
Oh no!
He immediately called me and said, the hell are you talking about, man?"
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, "Oh,
wow.
Sorry, man.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to be the one to tell you."
Yeah. Wow. Well,
Okay.
at least you're still friends.
What a humiliating thing to happen. You took it from him.
Our friendship has survived it.
Yeah. But now that thing you do is the thing that you did to him.
Yeah.
That is the thing in question now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. I appreciate
breaking his heart into a million pieces.
Tom, you're the best. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
on.
you so much.
Guys, this was so much fun.
Good.
Thank you
I'm so
so
glad you had a
much.
good time.
I hope we raised a lot of money for the ASPCA.
Thank you.
I hope so too.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.
The best.
Hey, remember when Tom Everett Scott and Whoopi Goldberg were on this show?
Yeah.
That was pretty fucking wild, huh?
Yeah.
It was great.